September 25th. So I think I might have mentioned that I've been struggling a little bit with the whole Project Survive and presentation, and I have my first presentation in 2 days, and it's not as, I'm not resisting it as much as I was a few days ago and all last week. I'm not resisting it as much. I think a part of it is the fact that it's just something new that I have to present in front of the classroom again. It's been forever that I do that, so it's nerve-wracking. And I know it's just the beginning. Like, once I get the hang of it, I'll be just fine. I know that, and I don't, and that's that's what I've been. It's just been a while. Right? The cycle repeats. It's just in a different way. But yesterday, it was interesting when I meditated, because I usually ask, like, do I do this today? Yes, no. Right? Do I do this today? Yes, no. And that's how I get my agenda for the day. And that's why I noticed yesterday. I was like, do I practice for Project Survive? It was a no. But I was getting a little anxious about it. And it was a no. It was a straight up no. Don't even touch it. I tried different ways to ask, and it was no. So I was like, okay. And it asked, instead I was, I went through the list of things that I normally have to do. One of them was to prepare the next chapter of the video. That always makes me feel better. Like the working on my videos for this diary, on blast project thing. That, for whatever reason, always makes me feel better. So I always, and then I'm curious to see what part in my life is coming up next. I'm like, oh, that's right. Muchismosa, right? Like, I forgot. So is that considered self-involvement? I don't know. For me, it's more like, oh, I forgot. So it's like I'm rewatching a novela. But anyways, that's what. So I balanced doing that yesterday with something else. What was it? Oh, I was supposed to do my notes, but I didn't. I was like, oh, because it was a long day of work. That's why. It was a long day of work. It was a little longer than usual, and I took a break, grocery shop. It felt good to be outside, but I was tired. Like, my eyes were hurting, and I think that's probably why, because that will still kind of get me invigorated, and I'm doing something. I'm making progress towards something. I think was the ultimate goal. But so yesterday, in this process of me sitting with just the awareness of, I have to do that. I know at some point I need to do that. I still need to do my notes. And school's gonna start I'm trying not to worry about, I'm just trying to worry about what's in front of me, right? And still, there's still this element of like struggling with where I'm at and where I want to be, which I hadn't experienced in a while. It's been a while, but I definitely felt it a little bit more. I've been feeling it a little bit more, and I wonder if it's part of the retrograde. I don't know. I mean, I don't follow it that much, because it doesn't impact me as much as it did at the very beginning, when I was really emotional. And I realize now, like, my energy awareness was so much more heightened at the beginning of this process, and that's why I was feeling the impact of the shifting of the energy more so than I do now. Like, I'm more balanced out, somewhere in the middle. So but it's enough to catch my attention. The awareness is enough, that the impact is enough that it's catching my attention, and I'm sitting with it to, right, decode it, make sense out of it. So one of the triggers, slight triggers over the last couple of days, I've been going on social media. Like, I have more access now to the internet on my phone, so I can go on it a little bit more. I still don't post much, but I'm seeing, what other people are up to, and I'm like, oh wow, like my old coworker's getting married, and my sister's getting married, and she texted me last night. She's like, I really miss you. I know you're doing your life. And I'm just like, yeah, I am doing my life. And this awareness, right, that I'm living my life. And then I revisited this book, and one of my clients yesterday, she happens to have the same North Node that I do. In the same place too, in the 10th house. So I was, asking her, what's your favorite thing about the city that you live in? She couldn't answer. So I said, that's a sign that you need to go and look, create your reality, create what gives you fulfillment, because I know that's, and she enjoys it. She did it once, and she's like, you're right, I really enjoyed this. So this is really helpful, because there's a section in here of how to help other people when their North Node is in such place. So I've been using that as well to provide more specific guidance for those who I have access to the chart, right? So I thought about that some more. I was like, I'm creating this. And then I realized, like, that awareness of just like, Yubi, this moment you created this moment. This is the end result of you having co-created with the universe in the past, right? I wanted to move here. This is what happened. Like, everything was just falling into place. This project survives stuff. You put yourself here. I have to remind myself, like, that's right. Damn it. I put myself here. Okay. So there's this acceptance, right? I had to work on my acceptance that I'm just somewhere in the middle. I'm somewhere in the middle of where I was and where I'm going, right? So even today I can create. That's what I was thinking about. I'm like, I can create what my day's gonna look like. I put myself in this Project Survive situation for a reason, and I know what the reason is. After learning so much about it, I was like, this information needs to get out there. Like, this is a good program, like a really great program presentation. And if I can help out in that process, right, not only will I get better, and that was the other thing I was thinking about. It's uncomfortable because I'm learning how to get better at relationships. That's what I realized. I said, that's why there's a little bit of resistance towards it. Because it's something that I'm struggling with, right? And something I'm working at getting better at. Clearly, it's something that's being documented, right? This involvement of what that looks like. And even thinking about the class that I'm going to start, women and gender in binary relationships. And the realization, it's all about relationships. Just continue to help me get better at relationships, right? That's what's being presented. So yeah. So I have this awareness. I'm reflecting on yesterday. I'm looking at people's stories, comparing myself, right? That's what happens. And seeing that other people have their tribe. Like, my sister has her tribe. She has her friends. And people that I used to hang out with have their stuff going on. I was never, like I said before, nunca fui muy amiguera. Like, I had friends, but I I was more of a homebody. And so even now, as I'm having these trainings with these other people and kind of learning about them and seeing where they're at, still feeling a little out of place. Like, I think that's a part of what's happening. clearly. That's what that is. I mean, the whole talk of the black sheep in the family yesterday. That's what it is. Still, I don't feel like I have found my tribe yet. So there's still an element of being alone, even though I know I'm not alone. And it's nothing new for me. It's nothing new. I think it's just being highlighted again. It's just being highlighted again. And the retrograde is in my 4th house. It's hitting my 4th house, which is a house of home. Belonging. And this awareness. I mean, like I mentioned, growing up, I never really had a pod of friends that was consistent. It was, I would outgrow the pods, I noticed. Like, I would outgrow it and I would go somewhere else and then go somewhere else. And the cycle repeated. Even in college, I didn't, no fui muy amiguera. Like, I was more serious in college. I didn't party. It wasn't until my senior year, 6th year in college, because I Fullerton, that I found more or less, I was always a part of different pods. And so I think, being 40 years old, I'm still seeing it. Not feeling completely a part of something, a group, always feeling a little different, a little set aside, because I wasn't fully there. The way they act, I was always a little different. So I think that's just what it's hitting, that awareness that I haven't found my tribe. So the dream that I had, it was a campsite. I can't remember all of the details, but there was a lot. But what I do remember was it was a campsite. The last part of it was a campsite. And I had left, and the campsite was divided in pods. It was divided in groups. People who know each other. But there was also a feel of like school, like a high school, college feel to it. Like when you how sometimes over the summer, like the high schools like plan trips or something like that, and or college trip, like there was some type of feeling like that. Just pods, groups. I had left my stuff with the old pod, and there was familiarity, like family feeling, and they had all my stuff, but I moved on, and it's almost like I was checking up on all the other pods. That was a feeling, like I was just checking up on all the other pods. And then when I came back, I couldn't find my family pod, like where I started. But there was this knowing, I know they're there. But I couldn't get back to them. Like I wasn't supposed to get back to them, and instead I was with a new pod for a little bit. And it was uncomfortable because there was people I didn't know, but there was like, okay, like this is where I need to be, but there was just this comfort with it. And part of me was like, not missing the old pod, but knowing they're there. I know they're there. And there was just this knowing that our paths may cross one day. And it wasn't like I was worried about it there was some discomfort. It was just discomfort, slight discomfort with knowing that I wasn't there anymore, that I was over here with this new pod. But it wasn't like all separate. Like people were just crossing each other's paths in between the pods. Like there was so much just crossing of paths. And I saw my ex in one of those. And he has his own pod. He has his own pod. And I remember seeing him from a distance, and he's smiling, and he just has this, like, people I didn't know. I was like, oh, those are new people. I don't know who they are, right? Like his own expansion, if you will. And I just remember seeing him laugh and smile, and there was still this feeling of like high school, but not like I knew we were adults, but there was this younger feel to how we were doing life. So I wonder if that just speaks to the maturity level, maybe. Not younger, like high school young, but there was a feel of like, you know what it reminded me of? Passing period. The way the classrooms are set up, and there's passing periods, so you're crossing paths with other people, like, hey, and that's what it felt like, but it was on a camping ground. And so when I saw him, it was like during passing period, as I was getting to my new pod. Isn't that wild? So I wonder if it's just just meant to trigger self-reflection. How far I've come, where I am now, and the steps that I know I'm gonna take to get to where I need to go, wherever that is, Yeah, I just wanted to grab it from me.
Hey you, my name is Yubi and I use she, they pronouns, and you've just finished watching a clip from my video diary entries where I'm documenting my healing journey as I learn how to navigate my spiritual awakening. I have learned that this experience and process is unique to each and every one of us in whatever way we are embracing living our truth. This just happens to be my journey. And despite me having a graduate degree and a license in clinical social work, this by no means is intended to replace any type of formal mental health advice. This is just me on a personal level, shedding light on the truth that I am learning and discovering for myself as these experiences unfold, and really inviting you along for the ride. Please know that there is a time gap between when these videos post and my real timeline, and also that these clips build upon each other similar to chapters in a book. So if you find yourself lost or confused, feel free to click on the playlist section or the link below, where you can jump around, check out the other chapters, and or catch up. Also, please know that you're more than welcome to check out my website, www.youbecominghealed.com, where I've gathered all of this information, my background, experience, and education to create online self-paced courses to help you on your healing journey wherever you are. You're also more than welcome to check out my other YouTube channel at You Becoming Healed, where I've entertained a podcast, including clips from these courses so that I can make this content accessible to more and more people. Please click like, subscribe, and share this content so again it reaches more people, with the hopes that other people will resonate and connect with the healing journey and the stories shared so that they don't feel alone in their own process. I thank you in advance. I'm grateful to you, and I wish you well.